today I'm brewing from Love Brewing £30.95 for this. The English barley wine. Massive sweet malt and ripe fruit flavours, sounds divine. I've also bought 2 kilos of glucose powder to bump the ABV. I've not used sugar this time. I wanted to experiment with glucose, i.e. brewing sugar. And then also to add a bourbon flavour to it, I'm going with Kentucky bourbon chips as well. Made from genuine American bourbon barrels that have contained actual bourbon for a minimum of 4 to 8 years. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, some people can age their stuff in bourbon. I, sadly, can't go down that road. So, some bubble wrap. The instructions. Please, if you've never brewed before, make sure you read the instructions. Pain in the arse, yes. So, Goldings hops. 1 packet of Goldings. 1 packet of Fuggles. Priming sugar. 20 grams of beer yeast. That. For when you drain the beer out, because I really ought to get one of them brewing the bags. More yeast, so 40 grams of beer yeast. And then this, the malt, and it's a 3 kilogram bitter, it says there. So that's one of them. And the other one, yeah, exactly the same. So, technically, I should have warmed those up before I started, but hey ho, you know, I've got to wait for the kettle to boil a couple of times anyway. So first things first, I'm going to chuck the glucose powder into the mix. Get rid of the glucose first. Obviously, I've already, you know, washed and sterilised. You know, cleanliness is godliness. Ah, and here again, second one. It's really awkward. My kitchen's not really made for doing videos. Now I'm going to chuck the bourbon chips in. So it just gets rid of the other components. And there you are. It's got proper good bourbon smell to it as well. So they're now going in. It's weird, isn't it, that you pay for bourbon chips from a bourbon barrel. Gonna have some fun trying to make sure I don't have issues with it. So now to do the malt. This is where it gets fun. Now, I should have proper malty taste. Again, Dr. Bollock here, because I should have really put them in hot water beforehand. But me being me, I never do it the easy way. Now put hot water in now. And I get my stirrer. There's my stirrer. And inside the thing, I'm going to give it a stir. So that will hopefully melt it a bit and make it a bit more pliable. Like I say, the best thing to do here is to actually put these in a sink of red hot water, fill the sink up, leave them for about an hour, really get them nice and pliable on the inside. Then when you do this side of things, you already will be winning, unlike me, who's done it the wrong way round. Please don't. So, if it's showing up on camera, but yeah, that is what it's like. It's big, it's gloopy, and yeah, it doesn't look the most appetizing. And it's just a case of letting it go in. One of them times when I wish I had about 4 sets of hands, because I need to do this. Put that there, and then actually squeeze out a lot of it. So while it's upside down, give a good squeeze and squeeze it out. Squeeze the cheese, as it were. By doing this, at least I'm getting rid of a lot of it. And I'm no professional expert brewer. You know, I try my best, and I make cock-ups like just everybody else does. Probably more so because I'm a bit over eager to crack on with the brewing, and as you do. So I'm going to leave that one on the side. So it actually falls in on its own. So on this one, I'm going to peel it off. I'm actually going to cut across this time, all the way across. And unlike the last one where I've got that piece of bloody silver dangling, causing more issues, there we go. I'm going to do it that way around. So I've cut the whole lot off this time. So little things, God, you always learn, aren't you? I mean, let's be fair. I'm learning all the time, yeah. There we go. So I'm just going to pour it straight in this time and, you know, let gravity and that do its thing. And then I'm going to hook it over the edge. So like I say, I've folded it over. I don't know if you can, you can't see it on camera. I folded it over the edge. So gravity does its thing more than me stood there trying to get every last little drop out. You see what I mean with the thing? Why did I bloody not cut it off? So right, so I'm going to reopen this up now. It's not easy, you know. And I'm going to put it in the sink, and pour the rest in. And I'll tell you what, prizing it apart and trying not to get all that stuff on your hands, it's not easy. So it's like Wraggy's homebrewing, but don't do it this way. You know, do it your own way and make a better job of it. The good thing is when you pour the hot water in, it does find a nice level in there. So I'll leave that in there in a moment. Get the second kettle on. Always about 2.5 kettlefuls. So it's at this moment in time. Oh, I'm going to drink my coffee. And then contemplate stirring that. Like I say, the vast majority is disappearing from this one already. So in some ways, wrapping it over the edge is good because it's got rid of a lot of it. So I'll do it a bit further down there. One thing you don't want to do is drop it into the mix, and then it really complicates matters. So, there we go. He says, you can always use your lid handle to wedge it. While it's on this side, you can actually squash it in as well. Right, that's doing its thing. Now, while I wait for the kettle, I'm going to cut that bit off because it's absolutely getting on my right royal nerves. Wrap it in that so it's not going to get crap all over me. Get rid of these into the bin. Right, now I'm going to stir the foil. Stir the foil, eh? Now the reason for doing this obviously is to get rid of as much, you know, you really want a crystal clear bag afterwards, because all that malt you want to make your beer with. So because it stands up quite nicely, I can do it this way. It'll be interesting with the wood if it disintegrates. I've done wines before with oak chips, and they've just disintegrated into the wine. So we'll see what happens. What I will say is I'm in absolutely no rush to I'm going to let it brew for as long as it needs. And then I'm going to add cherries to 20 pints of it and plums to 20 pints of it. So and just see where that goes really. Boy, it's a sticky job. And as you can see, it's neon clear now, so that's good news. Pain in the arse because you get sticky. But I've got the majority off. Yeah, it's pretty decent that is now. So just waiting for the kettle to boil. That's still going into the bubbles. Like I say, should have put them in hot water first, so they're much more pliable. Put them in hot water, move them about, so the hot water warms it up and makes it very much more pliable. Typical Wraggy, dropping the yoga bollock there, but right. So I'm going to put that in there like that. That one's fine. And then I'm going to do this one. And like I say, this one has already got rid of a hell of a lot of the stuff, but obviously there's still some in. So I need to prise open the top, and again, it's not the easiest. There we go. So obviously you don't want to get your hands on it because it's sticky and gloopy as hell. Pour hot water in, keep an hold on to one side as you're doing it. And I'm not pouring all the hot water in because I want to make sure that I get as much. That's doing its thing. And again, like the other one, I've now got to move it up the sides. like I say, try and get all the malt in. The actual brew's looking really nice. For me, second best kit on the market. The best kit being the Imperial Stout kit from Brewing. That is just absolutely an amazing kit. The beer it produces is just legendarily good. You know, there's no doubt about it. It's absolutely top class. I mean, this is 30 quid for 40 pints. So you've already got an outlet of like 75 pence a pint. I've added 2 bags of brewing sugar and the bourbon chips. So I'm stood at 40 quid at the moment, invested in this. I know you're not really bloody investing, but you know, to put it into terms. And obviously, playing around with it by this time, doing 20 pints into cherry, which is going to be interesting when it comes to draining it. Yeah. And the other 20 pints is going to be going into plum, and to make a plum barley wine, and yeah, looking forward to both, what happens on both sides of things. So the majorities. So yeah, that's bag 2. As you can see, it's just about clear. So again, I'm going to pour the remainder of this in, just to get the last dregs clear. I'm also going to pour some into this jug because when I put the blooming doodah in, the mixing spatula, it's gone on in there. So I've lost fraction, you know, there's like a little dribble I've lost, but on the whole, the vast majority has gone into the brew. Now that's that one. Let me get rid of that into there for a sec. Get this into the bin. And this time onto this one. Give that a stir around as well. So again, I'm not losing any of the extract, as you call it. Oh, as little as can be lost. I've got my hydrometer with me today, so I can actually take a reading as well. And I'll actually remember to write it on the bucket this time, so I know, instead of having to try and look for it later. Right, so there you go, that's the second one. And as you can see, it's lovely and clear, so I've got rid of all of what I needed to. Right, now I'm going to quickly wash my hands because that stuff's awful. It just makes your fingers stick together. Oh, right, thank God. That's the gloopy part. Yeah, that really is. Like I say, I bobbed up there. Makes 40 pints of fantastic beer. Hey, here's open. So, right. Let's add that. Right, so now half a kettle hot water, and now I'm just going to give this a good swirl round. This is the fun part, because obviously I've got the extract, I've got the sugar and the chips as well, to be fair. As you can imagine, there's a hell of a lot of the extract. As you can see, it's still a bit sticky, so it needs more water to make it unsticky and dissolve as best as you can. So it's looking lovely, the colour is lovely. And obviously putting the bourbon chips in straight away and with hot water is going to invigorate that bourbon and unleash those flavours to the mix. Gotta say, smelling really good. So, bourbon, barley wine. English bourbon, English barley wine. Or Kentucky bourbon, English barley wine, if you really want to be pedantic. And if you really, really want to be pedantic, it's an Imperial Kentucky bourbon, English barley wine. Hey. Have I just broke every rule? Maybe. Who cares, eh? In the grand scheme of things, not many people are going to be drinking it, so maybe me. So yeah, just going around the inside, so just to make sure that I've got any of the sticky gloopy stuff off the side. A good stir now, make sure that there's no resistance whatsoever, certainly no sugar. You know, when you stir on the bottom, you don't want to be feeling any gritty that from the sugar. And when you put your, look at that, beautiful. It's clean, so that means the extract's all been dissolved into the mix, as it were. Right. So now I'm gonna get it up to 23 litres. So 22 minutes in, a bit longer. And the reason it's longer is that obvious that the 2 sachets of that gloopy stuff really does take its time to clean out. So yeah, you would have saved a lot of the time. I would have saved a lot of time if I'd have actually put them in the sink first in hot water for an hour. But hey, nothing lost really. Oh, look at that. So this is going to sit upstairs because it's too cold in the shed at the moment. Like I say, it's gonna brew for us pretty much as long as it needs to brew. I'm not in a rush. Like I say, there's 2 parts to the brewing process. I'm gonna brew it, and then I'm gonna age it using 2 of my fermentation vessels and actually age it. So for once, I've got to be as patient as they come. I know that breweries like Bang the Elephant and that, and Emperor's Brewery, they age it with cherries inside the barrels, and the cherries like disappear, and or did they do it in the barrels? I'm not sure how they do it, to be honest, but I know they've had cherries with it and all that. So I'm just going to give it a quick stir, make sure it's all mixed together. Obviously, you're doing it for the first time, stick to the instructions, you know, because you don't want to kill the yeast off. I know, touching the side, that it's quite lukewarm, to be fair. And then it's just a case of sprinkling the yeast on. And this is going to be vibrant, because 2 packs of yeast. So I'm not sure they won't have 2 packs of yeast in it. So you've got beer, British ale, 2 packs of British ale yeast. Smells gorgeous. It smelled gorgeous, to be fair, before I even put the yeast on. But I dare say it's gonna be interesting. So take this off for now. Big long video this is. And there we go. That's what it looks like. It's doing its thing. Oh, it smells bloody lovely. Like I say, all that yeast and then bourbon chips. Be interesting to see if the bourbon chips actually disintegrate and just disappear. Not going to stir it, because the simple matter is, by the time I've got upstairs, it'll already have a bloody good stir. And updates will be coming on maybe a daily basis or 2 daily basis. See how we go. But yeah, that is Love Brewing's English Barley Wine Kit, but ramped up with 2 kilos of brewing sugar and the bourbon, Kentucky bourbon chips to make a Kentucky bourbon English barley wine. Hey, an Imperial one as well at that. Oh, that's point. So let me get the hydrometer reading. Nearly forgot. So run this tap a second, let the old water go. It's clean anyway, but not to say about cleanness. Right. So let me just move some of this so I can get a clear reading. Wow. So it is right, so it's there. So it's 111. So 1110 then, that is. That's the original. Yep, the original reading 1100. So we'll see what that goes down to, and yeah, put the lid on. Those are up. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.